Welcome, everyone. We're excited to have you all here for our webinar. We're going to present to you our latest version of Bacon Unlimited's Endpoint Configuration Management Solution, Bacon 3.1. We're going to show off all kinds of exciting things. We're going to show off some patching, complex file installation, remote control, monitoring group policy. The list is long. Before we get started, I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Michelle Kiley. I'm a co-founder here at Bacon Unlimited, and I'm going to be your host today. I've also got another co-founder, John Marcato, CTO.
Hello.
Welcome, John.
Hello, indeed.
And I've also got Andrew Britton, VP of Development here. Welcome, Andrew.
Thank you so much. Good to be here.
All right. Well, before I pass it off to you guys for the fun stuff, I am going to cover some tactical items. I love hearing from the crowd, and we've got a big crowd today. So if you've got questions, there is a chat button in your window there. You can pose those questions to us. We do have people in the background answering questions. Like I said, there's a lot of you today, though, so if we don't get to your questions today, we'll follow up after the webinar at the end of the week. But we want to hear from you, ask away, and do participate. In addition, you're going to have another place to give us some feedback with the post-event survey. So at the end of the event, you're going to get a little survey in your inbox. It'll pop right on your screen. If you could fill that out and give us your feedback, we'd really appreciate it. We want these webinars to just get better and better, and we do take your feedback into consideration. We also take your feedback for the product. So I know you're getting awesome soft t-shirts, which I know I'm always excited about just for showing up today. But if you fill out that post-event survey, I'll send you guys some candy as well. So hopefully a little added enticement. I don't know, are you into that, Andrew? Candy?
I am. If they don't fill out the survey, I get the candy.
Yeah. You know what? You get the candy anyway. So everybody wins.
Everybody wins. Everybody wins. All right, and then one more item before I turn it over to these guys is we'd love to learn some information from you now. So we'd love to launch some polls. Emily, can you launch one of those polls for us?
All right. So do you have a way to instantly verify your policy settings are applied? This would be like on your endpoints if you have a way to do that. We know things like group policy. You can put things on, you don't necessarily know they're working. Let's see what they say in the polls here. So as we sort of suspected, a greater number of people do not have a way to do that. So you're definitely gonna be very glad you came today, because we're gonna talk about Bacon, where everything is verifiable and trackable and almost instantly available, which is great. So that's great feedback, and thank you for answering that. We're going to do one more poll.
All right, poll.
One more poll, and then we're going to get started. All right, so how do you get help with complex tasks like automation and scripting? Check all that apply. We'll see what people have to say here.
I wish everyone would be able to have a positive answer here, but I know that's what we're here for as well.
Yeah.
I know that Bacon can do this, and it's I'm looking forward to showing everyone how we can take care of that.
Yeah, so the couple of key things we took away here is people have had to solve it internally with whatever knowledge they have, or by searching the internet. I think all of us great engineers can Google things.
Stack Overflow.
There you go, and then a little bit have some outsourced resources. And what I notice here is pretty limited amount of people get a lot of support from the people who make their tools, and that's a big differentiator for Bacon. Our licenses and our support don't just come with bug fixing, right? They come with actual workflow support, and that was one of the key design ideas, right? So very exciting stuff.
And most of the time on that support, you'll also be chatting directly with me or working with me. So when you get support, you're not just getting support from someone who has no idea about the product.
Yeah, it's Andrew and the other developers that are helping people, and our team's gotten fairly extensive to this point, where these are people who've really helped people with these kinds of real issues, DevOps issues and workflow issues and Active Directory problems and all the like. So pretty exciting. And so with that, thanks for answering those polls. We're going to do a couple of things today. So I'll be leading the conversation, and Andrew's going to be doing demos and supporting and answering some of these key concepts. So I'm going to start out by giving just an overview of the product, why we made it, and what it does in general, since many people on the call haven't had a chance to see Bacon before. I noticed a couple of names on there that maybe have checked it out once before, and that's great. Welcome back. The sort of the overarching element here of what Bacon does, it's endpoint management, so servers, workstations, laptops of any standard version, right? So whether you're Linux endpoints, which I know don't have a lot of options for broad, don't have broad support out there in the market, or you're using Mac OS, all the different flavors of Windows, even a couple that are just coming out of support, like Windows 7 and things like that. Bacon can support all of those, no matter where they are, from anywhere in the world, in a secure way. And that is a big difference from how a lot of things have been done in the past. We cover sort of a few key areas in managing endpoints, and we can do things like remote control. We can do things like patching, installation of software, inventory management, and monitoring of resources and policy enforcement. So there's just a lot of things that come together that really help people manage their endpoints. And I think just to sort of paint where the problem was, 5 years ago when we were looking at solutions that we thought would be the best in endpoint management out there, we found that there really wasn't a great answer that could service the wider market. You either had something that only worked on Windows or worked on your local systems, but you needed something else for a remote, or maybe you had a specialized tool that only did Mac OS. They could just do it much, much better. I had a remote tool that supported Linux and Mac and Windows, but if you were logging into Linux, it would crash. So just all of these things. And when you start looking at the why, most of the tools that are available today in endpoint management are 15 to 25 years since their inception. They've a long time ago lost their leaders, and nobody's really putting the time to make them advance to meet the modern world challenges of both security and flexibility with a workforce that's distributed everywhere. So a lot of really, really big challenges today for people doing endpoint management. And there's incredible gains to be made if you have good endpoint management. Automation and security, if you can master those things, you can just do so much more with the team that you have, and you can really win the day every day. And so we just decided that because there wasn't a tool that was great and modern out there, that we'd just make one. And so that's what Bacon Limited is. This is version 3.1. And we're going to show you existing features to get people who haven't seen it before caught up. And mixed in there will be the new features that we have in 3.1. We'll also reference kind of the ones that came out in 3.0 because it's a pretty big version. And then at the end, we'll talk about new features that are coming, because there are a lot of exciting things on the 2022 horizon here. So unlike many tools that we've seen out there, we don't come out with a new version like every 18 months. That's actually major. We come out with about 3 to 4 major versions a year. So we're grinding at a very rapid rate and bringing a huge tool set to people in one thing.
And just to add on to that, John, you just covered so many important things, but one of the favorite things that I like about it is it's a tool that anybody can use. It's anybody from your most junior admin to your most senior engineer on the staff. Anybody can get something good out of Bacon. So thank you for that, but I wanted to add that as well.
It's a great point, and we have great role-based access control so that if you do have more junior people doing certain tasks, you can limit their ability so that they don't get into hot water and maybe touch some things that they shouldn't, and you can also control what machines people have access to. So if you had an admin working in a remote office and you only want them to see those machines, you can control that, as well as all of the different technical features. You can divvy those up. So yeah, great point, Michelle. And I think with that, why don't we actually start showing off the real software here and giving people, a true taste for what Bacon can do. So we got the Lenovo window there. I don't get rid of that guy.
Driver pop-up.
Yep, driver pop-up, exciting stuff. We'll have to put that in the config to block that forever. We can do that with Bacon. Exciting stuff. So what you're looking at here, just to orient everyone, Bacon is extremely easy to navigate. The goal of Bacon is that you could learn 80% of it the first day you have it, and you could have it fully set up and deployed the first day you have it. And I know a lot of tools end up becoming shelfware because nobody can use them or because it takes so much challenge to get them rolled out. And Bacon was designed in an incredibly modern way to eliminate a lot of those challenges in most cases, right? So first thing you're seeing here is the overview page, and down the left-hand column there are all the different sections of the software. So the overview page, as you can see, is highlighted in green, and then you have monitoring hardware and software, which is a lot of sort of inventory type elements. Patching the repository, which is a multi-feature that can do a lot of exciting things. We're going to talk about that one. And then our profiles feature, which is a policy engine that allows you to do settings and install software in an automated way across all the different platforms and really control the state of machines. Sort of anybody who's ever heard the term infrastructure as code, that section is very much applies there. And it's probably the most sophisticated and capable feature, but it's probably the one that takes a little longer to master, depending on what your skill set is. Usually your more advanced engineers might be working in that area, but it allows to build an incredible amount of time-saving, set it and forget it type things. So very exciting there. We do have great logging. Every task you do with Bacon gives a tremendous amount of feedback, which is pulled directly from the endpoints. So you're going to know exactly what steps were taken to install things, patch things, or uninstall things, and you're going to know why they went wrong if they happen to go wrong, and you're going to know if machines go offline. You're going to get great data. The policy apply, well, it's important to apply, but it's also important to get feedback on whether or not it applied. So exciting stuff there as well. And I think with that, Andrew, why don't we just start showing off from the overview page and go down?
Let's do it.
Okay, so I think on the overview page here, the first thing to note is we're a very interactive piece of software. So there's incredible options to drill down, and you have a lot of great overlay data. So as Andrew's hovering over here, you can see that you're getting a lot of sort of feedback data. And any of these sections can be clicked on. So that first section that he was hovered over is called the alert section, and it's literally telling you each one of those blocks represents a separate alert. And each one of those alerts, you could just click on, and maybe just click on a medium alert there. And when we go to that section, what we're seeing is that actually that alert on the monitoring page. So you'll notice the monitoring section is now highlighted green, and that alert, and if there were any more of the exact same type, they would show there as well. And you can dismiss them or dig into them by clicking on them. Again, the drill down is extremely simple, and he's just removed the filters so that while we're on the monitoring page, you can see all the other ones on this dev server that we have. And you can see all of this nuanced data, and we can find out a tremendous amount of things about the systems in general. So, I think, Andrew, maybe just so that people get a sense for monitoring, if you could just walk us through what setting up a new rule kind of looks like, because it's so easy to make monitoring work for you.
Absolutely. So when it comes to creating monitors, we have multiple monitor types, and these are some of the most important types, things to look for on a server inside of your network. My favorite is personally, and this is the one that I like to set up for all new clients, it's detecting if your antivirus services are running. To me, that's like one of the most important. It's so mission critical that I make sure I walk through our clients to get that one set up. And what that takes is, we're going to create a services monitor type. Let's set the severity because, with AV, it's always critical. We'll call this antivirus services running. And because it is antivirus, because it is critical, I'll set an email reminder for every time that the service isn't running right. And I'll send it to myself. With this, we have a new feature.
Yeah.
Flavor alert.
So yeah, we'll probably show it off a little bit later, but we do have an integration now with ticketing systems, so you can automatically open and close tickets. Bacon already has the ability to self-resolve. So if an issue came up, like the service goes offline for, say, SQL Server, and it gets restarted very quickly, the alert may happen, but then it will automatically resolve. And in the ticketing system side, if you use something like Jira or Autotask, which are our first two ticket system integrations, it will actually show you that the ticket was created, but it will also automatically close that ticket if the issue is auto-resolved. So you don't have to go through and manually fill out all the notes of these tickets and close them and go manually dismiss the alerts in Bacon. You can manually dismiss alerts in Bacon, but for a lot of these things where the health goes down but then comes back up on its own, or through some other function that a person takes, we don't want to bog down the IT team with a lot of things that can be automated. So we do have an integration beyond just email alerts now, where you can integrate with ticket systems. So that's pretty exciting. And I think rules in general, every organization cares about different things. Maybe you want to have disk alerts, right? You're running out of disk space. When you get to 80%, you want all machines to give a warning alert so you can kind of go do some cleanup. But maybe you have some other systems where they really need to start alerting at 70%. And you can have different groups and different alerts that all can be customized to your need. And you can have as many of them as you want. So that's really exciting. And there's also another feature in here that's new, which is group-based monitors. And so Andrew's kind of on it right now. You can see where it's, you scroll up just a touch there. I just want to see that, where it says select groups, and then it says select endpoints. Well, before, if you set up an alert, all your endpoints that already existed, you could choose if they were included in that monitoring rule, right? And you can still do that, and that's exciting. But we also have a great feature called dynamic groups. And so you could make a group called servers. That's a really common one, right? And all operating systems that are defined as servers will automatically be a part of that group. So if you just build a new machine today and you just installed Bacon and it's a server, it's automatically going to be in that group. Well, if you already have a monitoring rule and the intent is to monitor all servers, well, you don't want to have to remember to go in there and add your server into the monitoring. You want it to automatically be added to the group and thus automatically be added to the monitors. So that was something that we wanted to add a little while ago, but some other things took precedence, and we finally got it in there 6 months later, and very, very excited about it.
Another reason I like this feature is this will also, you can create groups now and use groups based on do endpoints have software running, right? And so being able to monitor for, okay, well, this is my in my database server. That's a mission critical.
I'm monitoring for SQL because you have SQL.
Right.
Right. That's a great example, Andrew. I love that one because that's a really common use case, but it's just one of many. Like maybe it's you want to monitor everybody who's in a particular network because that's where all your production stuff lives. Or there's so many dynamic ways to make groups.
Right.
And I feel like that adds a lot of power to the automation functions of creating monitoring. So monitoring was a really critical update, I think, to that dynamic group philosophy.
Right. And in addition, so, you know, we're showing being able to select groups, and here you can see with these green squares that we have the implicit enrollment of that endpoint because it's part of a group. But in addition to that, we also wanted to keep the flexibility of being able to explicitly define endpoints. And so now if there's an endpoint in addition or outside of that group, but you really needed to be monitored for whatever reason based on just your network configuration, we allow for that. And in addition, if an endpoint is inside the group but falls outside of it later, you can still explicitly define it so it's still covered and you still get that flexibility.
Yeah, there's just a lot of really good nuance here to meet all the demands of real IT people's problems. So that's kind of the idea. So because we have limited time, there's probably more we could show in monitoring. We also have a knock dashboard, which is quite attractive if you want to have a rolling dashboard. Maybe we'll just show that for one quick second, but the idea is that you could have a constantly scrolling list of all of your systems. And Andrew, I don't know if you want to just hit the scroll button so you can actually see it scroll. But it'll scroll through all your machines and like play a piano, then it'll just start over. And you can filter it down, you can change the size of the columns and the speed. This is great if you have a knock area where you have a lot of screens up, or if you just have an extra monitor and you're working from home, you just want that health to always be sort of stated up there. But with that, I do want to move on to the inventory section. Probably the most common one you'll use is the hardware section. You're going to see a familiar friend in there called groups, which we'll get to in a second. But the endpoint section is probably the area where I spend the most time. The endpoint section is set up a lot like an Excel spreadsheet, and it's very flexible like that. So you can maybe just show them how you could change the OS version column width there. So you can change the width of all the columns, you can choose which columns you want to choose, and then you can move the columns around. So if you really wanted to see the status of the machine, you could move it over. He's doing a sort also. Every column is sortable, and then you can move it around. So you can see things in a way, and it will stay in that view for each of your administrators that log into Bacon. So they each can have their own views and see which columns they want. All of this data is also exportable. So if you're showing 10 columns, you would, when you did an export, it will show those 10 columns in an Excel sheet that you can then do other things with and make reports out of it. Stuff. So really, really exciting things like that.
If I could just interrupt and just remind everybody that you can ask questions through the chat. I know you're covering a lot fast. We're getting some questions internally, but wanted to
Great.
put that up there.
Well, glad we're getting questions, and we've got some people that'll be answering those in the background. Really, really cool. And I did want to note too, it's probably a good point, is for those who are seeing things and they're asking questions and they're going, boy, I could really use this, but I really need to know more. We'd be very happy to set up one-on-one demos with all of you. Getting to know you and understanding your problems only makes us better, and hopefully we can help you solve those challenges. So I look forward to meeting you all individually as well after you've gotten to see the sort of general information session. So endpoints, a lot of information there, a lot of cutting and pasting, also a lot of automated jobs you can do from here. So if you, maybe sort, here's a good one, sort by patches, right? Who's got the most patches? You can go in and sort by that. There's also a ton of filtering, which I'm going to show in a second. But first, I just want to say that if you just sorted by all your patches, you can see there's about 10 systems there that have over 10 patches. The rest of them, maybe not in such a critical state right now. So one context that you could patch from is you don't have to go to the patching section every time you need to do patching. Maybe you want to see all your machines and then choose those top 10 or 5 or whatever it is. And then you want to go up and choose from the master actions button up there. And I'm just going to show you, you can just go and choose to patch it from there. So this is going to quickly get you to the patching wizard. And we're going to be able to go through a patching job here. And I think maybe just to show patching quickly, because we could go into long depth about it, but we'll just give the gist since we have short time today. You can go in, you can filter, you can use what's called a not filter there. That's actually a new feature as well. Oh, a flavor alert, I think is what Michelle
Flavor
said.
alert.
So what Andrew did at the top there was he used one of our hard filters to say that the name does not contain kernel. And so now we're looking at all of the patches that do not contain a kernel in the name, right? And so that's really helpful. We want to get all the patches that don't have kernel in it, because that means they're probably not kernel patches. And then we have options. It reminds us of the machines that we had selected for patching on the other page. That's part of the wizard's logic. And as we get to the bottom there, it's given us this choice of which patches. It only will tell you the ones that are available, minus the ones filtered out by Andrew's filter. And then it's telling you, you could install them right now. You could schedule a time to install them, or you can use a really clever feature, which I love, called Run When Connected. This is so great for end user computers because they're not always online. Sometimes they shut off their computer right at the time you told them not to. I'm sure that sounds familiar to lots and lots of IT people who manage end users. They are like herding cats sometimes, and the Run When Connected feature helps you adapt for that. So if you choose Run When Connected, all of the machines right now that we've selected happen to appear to be online. But what if they went offline right when you started patching? Well, then the job is going to fail on that, endpoint. And that's going to be annoying. So now you have to go back and do it again, right? At some other future time. With Run When Connected, it's going to start on all the machines that are online right now. And it's going to get all the machines that are offline right now as soon as they come back online. And one of the coolest things is if Andrew had updates that required reboots, he'll have the option on whether or not he wants to do the part of the update that does not require the reboot, or do the whole job to patch and reboot. And that leads me to the last function, which we skipped over right there, called Relentless Mode. One of the greatest features ever. It allows you to choose a time window. So if you've gotten an outage window on a weekend for 2 hours or something, you can set that exact time frame down to the second. Could be a second long, could be a year long, doesn't matter. You choose, and then it will patch and reboot as many times as is necessary, following sort of the known metadata of the patch, to get all of those patches done in an automated way for you. So you can really get through huge amounts of work using Relentless Mode. This was a customer ask a couple of years ago, and it was a great idea. I always tell people I wish that I thought of it.
It's been a good ad.
It's been a really good ad. All IT admins who had to patch all weekend, now they can leave it running and it kind of does its own thing, and they can just check in on it, see all the logs if anything goes wrong. Hey, sometimes computers don't do what you expect them to, even if your software is working correctly. This is going to tell you about that and try to get through tons of this grunt work for you. You can choose a couple other options down there. You don't have to do the reboots. You can do all of the things minus that can be done minus reboots. And you can also force reboots on machines or on patching jobs where maybe the patches don't require a reboot, but you wanted the machines to get a refresh because you had an outage window. So we've got all those options in here. Patching, very, very powerful. Just to circle back, since we did a kind of a run through the vein to patching, under the hardware page, there is a thing called groups, and that has the dynamic groups we discussed before, as well as static groups. And so you can make as many groups as you want. Machines can be in different groups. It creates a lot of cool functionality in there. And I would spend a lot of time on this, but we have to keep it somewhat limited. There is also inventory features under the software section. And in the software section, what we have is all of your installed applications. And when you click on that, you see the versions and you see which machines have it. You'll also see all installed updates, not just third-party software. Maybe click on 7-zip there. I see that's a third-party application. And you'll see there's one endpoint. It's version 19. And if there were many endpoints here, you could see all of them. And you could also do an uninstall job from here. If you click on it, it would take you through the wizard. You'll see that one machine becomes an optional machine to uninstall. And you've got a field to put in any uninstall parameters, like maybe silent mode or something. So everything in Bacon is intended so that you have an easy click path to get everything done in a very brief way, and also from multiple contexts. So it's really, really beneficial that way. Now, there's a lot more that I can show you here. We also have software from a services context. So all of the daemons or services that run on your machines are also listed here. You can nominate them for antivirus. You can track any antivirus available on the market, either as installed software or as services or both. And then you can monitor for that and do all kinds of interesting things. So lots of great inventory control, as well as exportability of information. And one sort of area I'd love to show on this, Andrew, is if you wouldn't mind going into hardware and taking us to a machine that has remote capability. And the reason I want to show this is because we came out with remote capability in 3.0. So in February, a lot of people saw this for the first time. We've already made additional capabilities. This detail page shows everything about the machine, but also gives you access to go and do remote support. Remote support can be remote screen, right? Where you can get unattended or help an end user. You can also get to the remote CLI or the remote file system. Very, very cool features. This is all WebSocket based. You do not require a local agent on your personal machine to get to these things. You just get into Bacon and you have total control. Very, very powerful feature that we added to Bacon. People are already using it like crazy. You can also do tagging and notes in the details here. It's incredible. But I did want to talk about the new features in the remoting.
Flavor alerts.
Flavor alerts.
I can't help myself. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. They're fun. Everybody likes flavor alerts. So if you click on screen, one of the things that you'll have the ability to do is connect obviously to the screen. But when you have that, there's a ton of other tools that become capable. So it's very snappy, and there's all kinds of performance controls. So you can see it, with less perfect quality, but then it's going to be faster if you're over, thin links, long distances. This tool is amazing for long distance, thin types of situations. So if you're doing IoT or other things like that, this is an awesome way to do remoting. And you've got all kinds of shortcut commands, the ability to, send a Control-Alt-Delete or many other commands like that, capture the screen, do the new feature in there is chat, right? So now if you can't be on the phone with the end user, you can chat back and forth through the screen, and you can just really have a nice support experience, and you don't have to use a third-party piece of software. You can use your endpoint monitoring and management tool also as a remoting tool. So some people call this universal endpoint management. I think it's that much more. It's a really my favorite new feature. And there's also a huge security add that we've just made called, as part of 3.1, called just-in-time access. And what that means is you can have the remoting service on, you can have it off, right? So you don't have to have it on for everybody, or you can have it kind of in the middle called just-in-time access. This is great for passing security audits. A lot of security controls out there recommend not leaving remote functions on all the time. And so we have the ability to actually leave it in just-in-time mode, where when you go to try to access it, it turns on that service. And that kind of capability is not really available or possible in a lot of other tools that do this kind of thing. And so we're really excited to add it. Some of our most secure clients, they really wanted the remoting feature, but they needed it to be this way. So we've added that recently as well. So we'd love to sit here and talk about this all day because it's so awesome, but we need to continue down the list. So we're going to show the repository feature as well today. And there is a lot of great stuff in this. This is a multi-feature, right? And so you can do installation of software from here. You can do complex installation. You can write scripts in here or copy scripts in here and launch them on machine. But you can do a lot more. And I'm going to have Andrew talk a little bit about all the different file types you can do and the capabilities. Maybe walk us through a complex file installation.
Love to. I love this feature. It's personally one of my favorite. And what we've tackled here is the ability to perform a wide variety of installations, but to do it in a very simple manner. Whereas before in other applications, it might take multiple windows and multiple steps of compilation and then a lot of testing and maybe a few weeks of work to try and get a final result.
SCCM.
I don't know. Maybe was it what?
Throwing some shade. My goodness.
It rhymes with FCCM, I think is what we're saying.
Okay.
So with Bacon, we just use the operating system itself to perform the tasks. We, in fact, do what's called a bundle. So we take files and bundle. Now, what kind of files? Any file. It doesn't have to be specific to an operating system. If it's a file, Bacon can hold it, push it, and move it out. In fact, this is where the power of our bundle repository system really shows through is in instances where you're in a design group, and I've seen some clients do this where their design teams need to have fonts per project. And passing around fonts through emails, it's a nightmare, right? It's everyone's worst thing when it comes to that. What Bacon can do is just select all the fonts I need for a project and push it out.
Distribute them exactly where they need to go.
Yep. They send it to the computers. They can even bundle it and put it in the fonts folder for those users. And when the project is done, just one quick script, remove those, put new fonts in. Very simple.
What's not simple is distributing, these bundled files. Like I was making fun of SCCM, and I think for good reason, because I've seen clients spend weeks testing simple bundles, even ones made by Microsoft, right? So I know you have a couple of test bundles in here. Maybe just show what a bundle is and what it looks like. How would you make a bundle?
Very simple. If we were not walking through the process, the time to make a bundle is about 20-30 seconds. Select a few files, come up to actions, and there'd be create bundle right there. I don't have any selected, but I'll show you what a bundle looks like. Here we have this new BGI, and let's view this one.
And that's BG Info, right?
It is.
One of your favorite tools.
It is. In this bundle, we have 3 files. That's it. We have an exe that runs it, does most of the work. We have the BGI configuration file. I don't know what's in there, but it's needed. And I don't have to know what's in there. I just know it's needed and it has to go in at the same time.
Right, you just had to download.
Right.
Right. No tech skill really required.
None.
Right.
And then the PowerShell script. And
Also downloaded.
Great. And what the PowerShell script does is it links the BGI to the exe file so that they reference each other, and then the install goes fine. And with this bundle, this allows you to set per user the system settings for that computer, so that
And show them on your desktop.
Exactly.
I love that.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite. We even have a bacon bit about it.
Oh yeah, plugging bacon bits.
Can I plug that actually?
Please.
So Andrew actually just mentioned our bacon bits, and what is up there, if you go to our YouTube page, you can see all these little mini tutorials. They're just a few minutes long, but it shows you how easy it is to do some of these actions that we're talking about today. So that's a great resource page. Thank you for bringing that up, Andrew.
Great way to get familiarized with the product. If you're thinking that it can work for you and you want to see some samples of the experience, those bacon bits are great. But we also have a lot of clients that use them for little mini trainings and things like that.
Yeah, and you can get there just by going to our website, baconunlimited.com, or just going to YouTube and typing in Bacon Unlimited.
Yeah,
pretty easy.
Yeah, really, really simple. You'll notice there's a little green checkbox here under where it says launcher. So when Andrew made this bundle, he had the option to choose a file that's launcher. That's sort of the kickoff file.
That's right.
We broke down the logic of what tools like SCCM and Altiris and stuff made very, very complex and tried to make it very, very simple. You need to get the file somewhere. They need to all show up. You need to log everything that you're doing. And if you do want to kick something off once all the files get there, you have to nominate something for the launcher. So we just stripped down the concept and rebuilt it in a modern way. And now it just works every time and it takes 20 seconds to make. So that was really the aim. The other thing you can do in this repository feature beyond these complex file installs, right, and these other bundle examples is the scripting. And one thing I just wanted to mention is that we do have variables now in our scripting. So if you write a script in here, if you copy one off the internet and paste it in, and now you're going to run that script against machines, if you put in double curly braces around a certain thing, you could have something like admin username, admin password, and only at the time when you launch that script, you will be prompted for that information now, and you'll be able to put that in, and it will be ephemeral information. It won't be like, you don't ever want to have a username and password sitting inside of a script. So now you'd just be passed that information at the time of execution. So really, really great feature there. We could go into great detail, and again, we could show that to people. Oh yeah, he's showing that there are double curly braces in there. And now when you go to the wizard to launch it, you'll see that as a field that you could put in the directory name, right? So you had a comment, I can see it, Andrew, on your face.
One of the things that I really like about this process, it's just very quick, is that in addition to allowing the user to define the logic that is best for the installation inside of your network, anytime you need Bacon to collect the log about the process, all of the output from these jobs goes straight into our Bacon logs. So we have very comprehensive Bacon logs, and anything that you want to add in terms of, like in this script here, I might say echo, job done. This would also show up in the Bacon log as well.
That's awesome. I love that. So a lot of great things. Repository, you could go into great length about. I know I mentioned profiles before, but since we could do 10 webinars on that feature alone, we'll just say that you can make your machines do anything and you can monitor those things that they do. Very, very powerful feature. A lot of clients say that that is the reason they bought Bacon, because it just gives them an arsenal of firepower. It's incredible what you can do with that feature. Andrew mentioned that our logging is very complete. It's not just the job logs. We also have system logs, so every action someone takes is fully tracked, and you can push that out to syslog. That was a feature we had in 3.0. And maybe go to the administration page. I just want to cover some of the new features we have that are in there. One is, I mentioned that we have the logging, but we also have a new endpoint scanning feature, which makes the deployment even easier for Bacon. It can scan any network that you have access to And you can even exclude certain IPs if you don't want them scanned. And then you put in credentials for Mac, for Linux, for Windows, and it will use those credentials. And if you wanted to, it will automatically install the Bacon agent. This just makes it so easy to get your deployment done quickly. There's other ways. The agent's very small, so there's a lot of good ways to deploy it. But this way, you can see all the devices, no matter what type they are. It's going to tell you what vendor they are. And if SSH or WMI are open, respectively, in the different operating systems, you'll be able to do these installs. So that's an exciting new feature. The other new feature that's really, really exciting is those integrations I mentioned at the beginning. We now have integration for inventory with IT Glue. We'll be adding some more, including to the database that Jira makes, the CMDB. We have Jira ticket configuration integration and Autotask. For those who use Autotask, also known as Datto, ticketing system. Those integrations already exist today, and there'll be more coming. So very, very exciting capabilities there. And I think we covered a lot of the key features. Were there any that I missed that we didn't think of?
Just went through all those flavor alerts. I didn't get to use my little announcement.
Didn't get to say flavor
I
alert.
didn't get to. It was too fast.
Well, in the last 60 seconds here, before we wrap up, I do want to make sure everybody has time to fill out the survey. I did want to just mention a couple of things that are coming because I think people are really excited about them. So one of the things that people have found very challenging this year is the new versions of macOS have offered some deprecation of some of the capabilities in the operating system. And the only way to get those features to work is if you have access to the MDM API. For people who know what that is, they're probably listening very intently right now. We are adding, and this will be coming in the next couple of months here, the ability to talk directly to that API using the App Push Notification service so that you have the best of both worlds. Everything that can be done sort of from the internal commands of the system, as well as things that are only allowed through that MDM community. All of that firepower for Mac OS and complete support for Monterey coming up here in the near future. So that's really exciting and very near term. A couple of the other features that are coming that are really exciting are custom columns. Imagine that with all the data we give you, there's just something else you need. Maybe you need to know the serial number of the third-party video cards in your machines. You'll be able to collect that, put it in its own column, and have it be a searchable part of the system, just like everything else. And there's an endless list we could probably make of those things. That one is just really exciting, and a lot of people are very excited to get that one. I'm trying to think, what other, oh, I thought of the other one. Third-party proactive patching. We already have third-party patching today, but the ability to be notified that your Chrome is out of date and that there's a newer version, and maybe even automatically install the update for that, that's coming soon. And then the other one is CVE mapping, which goes along with it. And that one is.
And then we also have NIST integration.
Well, same thing, right?
Yeah.
CVE mapping, right?
Yeah.
So CVEs, right? You need to know security threats, that are related to apps that you have installed or patches that you're missing. We'll be mapping that so that if you're the person responsible for mopping up all the security problems.
Log4j mess, imagine if you had that.
Oh my God, Log4j is a great example.
Sorry we're a little late, guys, but it's coming. It's coming.
Yeah.
We're going to have this for you.
Yeah, so you'll be able to take action on that, track it, report on it, so that you can go to management and say, I took care of all these vulnerabilities. This is when they were known about. This is what we did. Here's all the maps of CVE. So that and third-party patching kind of go together. They're two separate features, but we're collaborating on those. That's all stuff that's just coming this year. There's a bunch more, but I just wanted to give some whistles out there. With that, boy, going through this, the hardest thing is that we can never get it all in one session. We really look forward to being able to answer your individual questions on some one-on-ones. I hope this was informative for people today, and I hope you got a sense that we are trying to make the greatest endpoint management tool in history, and we just keep adding features in. It all comes as one single license. There's no add-ons or any of that kind of junk. And with that, we hope you'll fill out the survey. Tell us what you thought of the webinar. Tell us what you think about the product in general and things you'd love to see. And we look forward to talking with you soon. I think sending you a t-shirt, going to send you some candy. We do want to thank you for taking the time Michelle, did you have any last comments?
No, I think you covered it all. Thank you all so much. We really appreciate all the questions you've been throwing at us throughout the session, and we look forward to continuing the conversations. Have a great day, everyone, and thanks again.
Yeah, thanks everybody. Thanks Andrew and thanks Michelle as well.
Thank you.
Likewise.